Yes. Well, I was telling you about the other fraud. What time was your flight,
No, sir, we're here less and more.
Where did you work at?
He's been there for years.
40 years. You had to say the word or sign the paper.
Are you married? Got kids? How old is they?
Oh, they got all of them. Two of them. Yes. What do you say you enrolled? 28. 31, 2. That's a bullshit. Yeah, a lot of bullshit.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Monday, October 12th meeting of the Campbell County School Board. I'd like
like to welcome everyone here tonight. I also like to welcome all those that are viewing us via Facebook Live. Welcome. Special welcome to Mr. Rogers and Mr. Tweedy from the Administrator's Office. Thank you for being here. At this time, I'd like to call the meeting to order. First item on the agenda, now to the floor.
Mr. Chairman, we have 5 individuals, I think, that have speak, Ms. McClellan, and you call these things out.
First speaker is Mr. John Hardy.
Just a reminder that there's a 3-minute limit on presentation or your speech. And we ask you to state your name and address, please.
My name is John Hardy. I live at 601 Callahan Road, Rustburg, Virginia, 24588. Good evening, board members and Dr. Johnson. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. I'll be clear that tonight I'm speaking in behalf of my role as Board of Supervisors member for the Rustburg District and representative for the Rustburg District, as well as a citizen in the Rustburg District, one and the same. I wanted to just share some things. I don't have a prepared speech for you tonight. Last time I approached the board, it was concerning the 1919 section of Rustburg Middle School. Tonight, my focus is on the new Rustburg Middle School project that both the board and the school board have been working on and collaborating on here for the past several months. I want you to understand something coming from me, that there are a lot of people I love in my life. My wife and I celebrated our 19th anniversary on October the 6th, and so I'm grateful for that. She's number one. And then I want you to understand family is important to me, our future is important to me, and the community is important to me. You may or may not see this whenever I'm in a meeting. You'll see that I have the American flag appropriately displayed on my lapel because of how important our country is. But right below that, if you were close enough to see, you would see the R. You would see our Rustburg R displayed. And I always wear that because it's very close to my heart. So the topic that I'm going into is a very personal one for me. God's given me a lot of different, a lot of blessings and an opportunity in a lot of different places and see different things. One is to come to Rustburg to teach, to work for the school system, but also to live as a citizen there. I want to see Rustburg Middle School thrive. To do that, led a conversation having to do with the size of the building. Believe that that's the right type of conversation and respectful for the future. So Mr. Rogers is here on behalf of the county. I've begged the question, our board has begged the question of the size of the building. We want to make sure that we get this project right, and then we get it right for the next 50 years. Okay, it's a big decision. So I'm sorry to belabor that, but I will trust that Mr. Rogers shares with you the talking points that we had that night and shares how important some of the history is to us as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hardy.
You get this back.
The next speaker is Karen Berry.
Hi, my name is Tanya Gordon. I reside at 169 Lincoln Place in Lynchburg. I'm actually here tonight to read comments on behalf of Karen Carter Berry, who resides at 1876 Timberlake Drive. She was not able to be here tonight due to illness. First, I'd like to thank the Board of Supervisors and the School Board for their work on the Rustburg Middle School project. I want to thank Supervisors John Hardy and Matt Klein for speaking up for their constituents. The class of 1969 began work in March of 2019 on their gift to Rustburg for their 50th class reunion. Pulled their funds to purchase a bench and a large marker to be displayed in front of the 1919 building with wording to recognize this historic building, only to learn after completion of the gift that the building was maybe demolished. Who knew? No one told any of us working on this gift that the building was slated for demolition until we were ready to install in 2020. Approval was granted for us to do this with this expectation of putting it on the front lawn of the building. How did that happen? It tells me the total demolition has been a recent decision made in 2020. If school board policy section F, code FG, has been followed, we should have all known about the demolition of this 1919 building before 2020. All of us agree that Rustburg is growing and that Rustburg Middle School needs a significant investment for renovation and expansion. What we disagree on, however, is why tear down a historic building that is in great shape, a centerpiece of the community, when it can be renovated and incorporated into the needed expansion and possibly save taxpayers millions of dollars that can be applied to other school needs. More than 1,000 citizens have signed a petition to renovate Rustburg Middle School by utilizing the current 1919 building and add other buildings as needed. Numerous people have spoken to the boards and written letters to them asking to save the building and to save taxpayer money. The Virginia Department of Historic Resources has offered to help the county realize 25% of the renovation of the historic 1919 school via state tax credits. This $44 million project comes to a vote on October 20th. Once the contract is signed and the building is demolished, there is no turning back. Please permit Ware Construction to study the 1919 building and give renovation costs as part of the new Rustburg Middle School project. As Bully Martin would say, this is about the children. We are the children that have grown up and want the historic 1919 building to stand for many more generations of children to experience and enjoy. Thank you very much.
Just real quick, shout out to Matt Klein back there. Sorry, man, I didn't see you. So welcome. Now to the board of supervisors as well. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Next is James Lewis.
My name is James Lewis. I live at 431 Mountain Drive. I have lived in the Rustburg community for 36 years. I taught in the hospital for 36 years, and I've lived here quite a bit of that time. I taught history, and I always felt like the subject of history should inspire. As a teacher, I worked to make sure it inspired, and I want you to inspire by saving that building. We should just work for it. I've experienced the good, the bad, and the political. And here, because our historical school means too much and it needs to be saved in your wrecking ball. I am here to ask you to please reconsider and think about it. Do not turn down this community treasure. I had my first teaching job in room 10 of the historical building. I love the high ceilings, the real slate blackboards, the wide plank flooring, and the tall windows to give us plenty of light. History should inspire, and that building does inspire. To address the problems that Dr. Johnson has with the building, he talked about the cost of tearing down the walls. The walls have already been torn down. My old room 10 now is part of the guidance department, and outside the guidance department is the wide open office area. Heating system was another problem. The old radiators are gone. The pipes are there, and in fact, there's a unit situated outside of the historic building. Grading. We didn't have any problem with the grading being higher than the 54 building. In fact, we enjoyed that hill. We had graduation on it and loved it. If it is a problem, you could build a brick wall to separate, this is the 1919 historical building, separate it from your parking lot, and the brick could come from the 54 building. So that was a cost-free brick building. Where there is a will, there is definitely a way. I beg you to reconsider and save the historical building for the community and for the children. We must appreciate the value of historical buildings. Did you not enjoy riding through Riverfront Avenue, Washington Street, or even the Point of Honor? Historical buildings just like ours. Some of the possible uses, you could use it as a bag storage. Bring back a much needed home ec building, perfect place for it. Or as the building expands, this could be possible expansion for people to use with the school. If not, make it a resource center. The location of the building does not interfere with the building of the new school. I feel that there is enough Rustburg graduates who would be willing to donate their time if it's a resource center, or at least give us a flat rate for any rehab that needed to be done. Please say it. Thank you for listening. Will you accept the challenge to inspire? Where there is a will, there is a way. Please find a way to save our historical building from the wreck wall. Thank you.
Next is Larry Jones.
Mr. Jones?
Okay, next is Wayne Bailey.
I assume most of you remember me. I'm Wayne Bailey. I actually reside at 7525 Winter Balloon Way, Fort Worth, Texas. I've made 3 trips or 4 here to speak to this issue. I've done that of my own accord, not through any coercion, but only through a desire to save the building. So I assume most of you remember me from the last meeting where I was gavelled down for exceeding the 3-minute limit. Initially, I planned to recite your policy tonight as it relates to the retirement of the building. But I am sure you know what your policy states. I'm going to focus on only one line from that policy, the historic value of the building to the community. Let me stress the historic value to the community. Have you as a board done that? If you have, please provide evidence of that. Did you invite the viewpoints of community residents and staff in making the decision to demolish the 1919 school building? If you did, please provide hard evidence of that. When and how did you solicit the viewpoint of community residents? We have read the last 2 years of school board minutes and found no mention of you having invited the viewpoint of community residents. If you saw community input before that, please provide evidence of that. Not seeking community input for a period of over 2 years is simply unacceptable. You still have the opportunity to do the right thing for the people of Campbell County. The 1919 Rustburg Middle School building deserves to maintain its place in the history of Campbell County. Save this invaluable piece of Campbell County history. Renovate and reuse the building. Save money and preserve history. Take some time to sit with us and hear us out. What do you have to lose? We can all benefit from having an open and honest dialogue about the pros and cons of the 1919 building. We are all responsible adults. We deserve to know your thoughts as to why you think it's necessary to demolish the building, and each of you should care about why we are so adamant about saving it. Not having such a dialogue is a failure to carry out your responsibilities as elected officials. What do you have to lose, and what do we all gain by doing this? This does not have to be a win or lose situation. Working together, we can find a way to arrive at a solution that we can all be proud of. Please give us the opportunity, and I'm confident that you'll find who are rational and reasonable, and hopefully we will learn that you are as well. Today, all we know is that we at odds come together with us, share what led to the decision that you have made, and we will share why you should hear us out. Thank you once again for the opportunity to speak. Let's sit down together, have a productive discussion. Working together, we can come up with a mutually acceptable solution. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey.
Mr. Chairman, if I may comment briefly, Mr. Bailey emailed, I want the policy that he's referring to, he emailed our school board attorney asking for clarification, opinion on whether or not you had violated your own school board policy. Last Thursday, I received a response from the school board attorney's office. I shared that with you, and tomorrow morning I plan to email that, Mr. Bailey, to you so you can share it with your folks. I appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you for all those who've spoken. I appreciate your passion, appreciate your time. Next item up on the agenda is approval of the September 14 minutes.
Mr. Chairman, I move we approve the minutes of the September 14th meeting.
Second. Okay, we've got a motion by Mr. Grant and a second by Mr. Maddox. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Payment of bills.
Chair, I reviewed those bills, so we spent a lot of money buying laptops and iPads last month. So I appreciate that, but I know that we approved payment of those bills.
Second. Okay, we have a motion by Dr. Miller and a second by Mr. Jones. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Ms. McClanahan, seventh donation.
Tonight you have 11 donations that were listed in the Word docs in advance of the meeting. Unless you have any questions, I would ask that you approve them as presented.
We got a motion by Mr. Phillips. Who had the second? A second by Mr. Jones. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. McClanahan, one more time.
Tonight you have 8 non-resident tuition applicants that are applying to attend Campbell County schools. Unless you have any questions, I ask that you approve those as presented.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Maddox and a second by Mr. Grant. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Ms. McClanahan, once more.
Tonight you have 2 supplemental appropriations for approval. Unless you have any questions, I ask that you approve those.
Move to approve.
Second.
Got a motion by Dr. Miller, a second by Mrs. Reitman. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Ms. McClanahan, this is your line.
It's in advance of the meeting, we posted the audit report for the 2020 fiscal year for the local school audits. We had new auditors this year, Brown Edwards out of Roanoke, and it was a really good audit. The schools were happy with their work, and it was a very productive time. So unless you have any questions, I ask that you approve it.
Basically, it sounds like all our schools are doing a good job, but they made suggestions almost identical to all the schools. Is that being addressed, or is some of those more of accounting item and practicality?
Yes, all the schools have some of the same findings, and the principals have already addressed those and sent in their recommendations and actions on how they're going to correct that going forward.
Okay. But basically, they're all doing a good job.
Yes, they are.
Well, I would like to recognize Westbury Elementary for having a clean audit. That's
Exactly.
very hard to do. So
all.
Have a motion?
I move to approve the
I'll
audit.
second.
Motion by Dr. Miller, and a second by Mrs. Wright. Is there any further discussion or questions? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Personnel.
You have a personnel report in front of you, unless you have questions, I ask that you approve this written.
Motion.
Second.
Got a motion by Mr. Jones and a second by Mr. Grant. Is there any other discussion, questions from Ms. Conlon?
Are we still in good shape? I'll teach you all about it.
Yes, they are.
Good.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Conlon. Next up, Mr. Rogers.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, members of the school board and staff. Appreciate your time this evening. I'm afraid I'm going to need a little more time than Ms. Clanahan did, but I'll try to keep this as brief but as complete as possible. As you know, we've been working very collaboratively on the new Rustburg Middle School project and made tremendous progress. And so I again want to commend members of the joint committee, the school staff that have been working to move that forward. And so we were able on October 6th to take the construction cost limit contract into the Board of Supervisors for their consideration to see if we're ready to execute that contract to move forward. At that time, as part of that conversation, I want to recognize Mr. Hardy for raising the question of whether or not we had fully considered future-proofing the school in anticipation of future growth in the county, as well as demands and other attendance zones, and whether it isn't indeed maybe more cost-effective to contemplate a larger school at this time rather than waiting for some point in the future to consider an expansion. As a reminder, the design for the school is to have a capacity for 750 students, and as you recall from the design meeting we had with the architectural firm, it can be expanded to accommodate up to 900 students. So after much discussion and deliberation at the Board of Supervisors meeting, I was asked to come back to you all to revisit the question and hear your consideration as to the desired capacity for the school. As things stand now, the proposed contract is indeed for a 750 capacity facility. The price for that is $41,320,000. The estimated increase to take that facility up to a 900 capacity facility is another $1.3 million. We've also been advised that should the boards mutually agree to go to the 900 capacity facility, that will add another 30 days to the construction schedule over and above however many days it may take to deliberate and settle upon the final number and final approach that the board this evening to attempt to answer any questions you may have, but to put the question back before you as your desires with regard to the capacity of the Rustburg Middle School. The board is very anxious to hear from the school board and certainly welcomes continued dialogue on the matter to include a joint committee meeting or a joint board meeting should that be necessary. Even if we don't need it on this matter, we certainly welcome that opportunity in the very near future to get the two boards together to continue the very positive dialogue that's been underway for the past many months. So appreciate Mr. Hardy introducing the topic. I know that a great deal of thought went into a review of the county's demographics, school enrollment, and are really being bullish on Rustburg as an area for growth going into the future, and wanting to be sure, as some supervisors said, that we get this right. This is a $44 million investment. We want to make sure we all remain on the same page with regard to what the school's needs are, and that the board is properly working with you to address that need. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll draw my remarks to a close and we'll attempt to answer any questions you all may have.
Is the 1.3 million, is that just construction cost or is that total cost? Yes, everything.
That's everything in the project, but for possible improvements that may be required to Rocky Road. We don't know yet if VDOT will require additional improvements there. The facility is based on a larger number.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Right, that 30 days, just to be clear, that 30 days, is that delaying the project from starting or at the end of the project?
It will be added on. All we're doing, the delays, Mr. Chairman, right now respectfully are just in our time to deliberate. So it is added on to the back end of the schedule, recognizing that the bigger building will take a little longer to construct.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, just want to remind the board, the design the core of the facility was designed for not to accommodate 900 students with the option of building, this would be adding 6 classrooms.
Correct. That's right, 750 capacity, 4 facilities designed to accommodate 900, so you could expand at some point in the future. The question we're asking you all to consider, is that still the preferred strategy, or would you like us to contemplate building all the way out to the 900 as part of the initial contract? This is a little bit more than $100 million. This is our first borrow to affect that long-range capital improvement plans. When we went out to borrow, we had a very strong credit rating, and we timed our borrow at the market to get very competitive interest rates. So our interest rate came in, for example, at 2.67 versus the 3.5 that had been modeled. So at the new interest rate, and in the context of a $106 million capital improvement plan, the $1.3 million can be absorbed in that plan without adversely affecting future project owners. So it can be incorporated should the board elect to do that. It is 1.3 more debt that would have to be borrowed, but the schedule, the amortization schedule would not change drastically. So you effectively would not necessarily be taking from a future project to fund it. The board might be taking from other capital projects to make it happen, of course, because it's not just free money.
Any other questions? Please clarify for me.
Yes, sir.
Is this going, just yes or no, is this going to come from the fund, the CIP fund we have for improving our structures and our facilities? In other words, would this impede us after the project is finished, we move into a subsequent project, study in Brooklyn, and those areas? Is it going to have any impact on that whatsoever?
Mr. Jones asked for yes or no answer. Say no. Not necessarily.
That's
I'll say no.
Mr. Rogers, what I would like to hear, you said 106.
Yes, sir.
I would like to hear you say we now have 107.3 for long-range capital improvements.
And I guess where I'm at, Dr. Miller, is that I think the board should have an appetite to hear that from the school board. It might be presumptuous of me to say, but if on October 20th, we go back to the board of supervisors and say, I came before the school board, there indeed preferred strategies to go to 900, and they would like the county to commit that extra 1.3 to doing so, right? I think that's the answer. So perhaps the board does that out of fund balance, perhaps they do it out of additional debt service, perhaps they do it out of some other project pot. The concept being it would not come out of future school projects.
But with your interest rate being lower, you didn't save almost that, man.
The interest is just on the first $40 million, and so each subsequent project will have to go back out for it. And in fact, we did not borrow the full amount for Rutherford Middle School. That was never part of the plan. We borrowed 90% of the estimated value, so we were awaiting final costs, and then we'll go out for the last 10%. And that is a big piece of why the 1.3 could very likely be absorbed without adversely affecting future projects. Instead of going out for $4 million to finish it out, for example, you're going out for 5.3, and in the overall scheme of things, your payment schedule is not going to change.
I was able to attend that board of supervisor meeting. Was there any expectation if we expand that school of closing down William Campbell? I mean, were there any expectations put on that money?
No, ma'am, not to my recollection. It really was a very positive conversation about making sure we have enough capacity in Rustburg to address future growth, as well as to allow the school board to avail itself if there's pressure in other areas. There was no conversation about any other school closures as part of that. I should be very clear about that.
To the board, I would like to just share, I was at that meeting, and I'll be honest, and I go to most of these board of supervisors meetings, and I have been for quite a few years now. And I was a little blindsided by the conversation. But what I'd like to share is that this board, the board of supervisors, are expressing great optimism for Campbell County. And as Mr. Hardy, I don't want to put him on the spot, except we need to wear a 50-year hat for a project this big, we're not going to build another one in 50 years. Fiscally, the arguments make sense, that's going to be, and the 1.3 is a lot cheaper now than it would be in 15 years, do an expansion, if needed, and we can't predict that we're ever going to need. But what I will say is that there is a real positive attitude about growth in Campbell County, and hopefully in the rest of the state. And so, none of this was negative, none of this was holding anything over our heads. And so, from a fiscal standpoint, it makes sense. The only thing that we have to, we will use that room. It'll get used. In the future, when it gets later for kids, we may think it's a little crowded. Future boards will have to remind themselves that the school is about 900 kids. They're going to have to figure out they'll get all 900 in there. But we have a very positive, and I just want to commend our other elected colleagues in this county, that it's a breath of fresh air to see this positive attitude and very forward-thinking and optimistic. That's for the Rustburg area, Concord. It's just good. So, I don't call this a gift, because we have to pay for it, but I don't see a reason to really affect this. So, that's what
You will be asked to take action.
I would like to echo Dr. Miller's comments, because I don't know how many years I've been on this board. Most times when we come up with an idea like this on the board, where we felt like it merited and warranted, we would get smacked down by the board of supervisors in the past. They, don't even think about it. But I mean, here, they're saying, don't you think it might be a better move to do it now? I mean, to me, that's class, and I really appreciate it. I mean, like, I don't know what to do.
Exactly.
Well, I think when we were looking at this, looking at the numbers that we had several years, the numbers have been running, right now, 619, and I've given up for 66, something like that, the last several years. And so we felt like 750, I don't know, I want to go over 900, and this might become another designation other than CIP. They want to come up with the money, but I don't think the other projects will do. So be it.
Nobody has more questions about it.
If we approve this tonight, they will vote on it October 20th.
Yes, sir, that's my understanding.
That's all I'm saying. I really believe that we need to get on with this Blair, the way you think to do the project. And we had a goal open August of 2022. And in order to do that, we're going to have to delay it again next week would be wrong.
Again, we'll take it back to the board with every expectation that they'll act on the plan, not the representation of the outcome, but we would anticipate that they'll take action on the plan and move on from
There was discussion about another, so
We
we
don't
need them, but I don't think if we're in agreement as this motion, I don't think we need one to get it signed on.
concern, potential projections that were driving this, being concerned about potential growth, and that was a specific plans on potential projections being higher than Mr. Grant referenced earlier. Yeah, Mr. I would respectfully bounce that back to your school staff who helped develop those long projections.
There's two slides, and I shared the numbers.
the attendance numbers, the historical data for the Russell Middle School as well as the area. And that's the same information that was provided to the board of supervisors, just so you know that. So what you have on this slide is the whole historical enrollment data for the Russell elementary area. The feeder schools, the Russell Middle is highlighted, and then the totals. So I think to answer your question, how did it come to 750? One, you look at historical data. 750 was also the number that when we originally, when the facility study was completed back in 2010, and they were projected enrollment out, the 750 was the number that was recommended if you did full placement of Russell. Okay, so that was that recommendation at that time. The historical data really has not changed at all. It's stayed steady in the area or decreased. But that's not unique to Russell. Back in 2009, we were approaching 10,000 students, and we're at 8 now. But and then the other part is the capacity of 750 middle school, between 750 and 900 is optimal size in the middle school for full efficiency of all the staff. That's exactly. So there's really 3 reasons why the 750 was chosen. But again, it was built to come out to 900 at a later time if you needed to. What is hard to predict is growth. And there are a lot of homes going out there. And there's a lot of action bringing on East Tab Road. But what we don't know is how many homes are going to have school-age children. But I think the argument is that if you're not going to get those, if you're going to build it in 15 years, you can build it now for this amount of money. I think, the things that Mr. Hardy said at the supervisor's meeting and relayed tonight is great. I think it's a good time to build that. It's cheaper. Certainly once you're in the building, it's hard to come back and have all classrooms, this disruption and all of that. So if you do it now, but it's hard to predict, what that number might be, how many school-age children will be able to get out. But it will grow. I think you'll see growth.
Just in the last 6 months or so, there was 400 units on this staff. And the broadband is moving ahead, and broadband is moving ahead. So, there's the old adage, if you build it, they will come. And maybe that will come to fruition. It probably won't be on our tenure that we build that school up. But again, as Mr. Hardy said, we need a very good reaction to school like this.
In the other slides, it's that's just, the next slide is just live births. And that's a number that we look at along with the Development Cooper Center and UVA to try to predict enrollment. Because obviously, kindergarten and those numbers, and you can see next year, I'll give you a second to look at this chart. So you'll see in 2003, when those students are seniors now, and it just works its way through, you see on the right, the far right, how many live births in Campbell County that year. And it's been, I guess statistically, probably pretty consistent. You do see a little bump next year, but then the median drops back down. So again, that's all historical data that was used to predict enrollment at the school size.
Any other discussion, any other questions? Mr. Rogers?
I'm looking thank you for continuing to engage the conversation.
Mr. Chairman, I make approval of a motion to recommend acceptance of additional $1.3 million being offered by Campbell supervisors to increase the student capacity at the West Middle School 750 to 900 with the following condition:
money used for this increase must come from county funding source other than CIP revenue streams so as to not negatively impact subsequent projects on the school CIP.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Jones, and a second by Dr. Miller. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate the time.
Mr. Chairman, I just speaking for the school board, we would like to appreciate your willingness, assistance and guidance through this project. It's really been a pleasure working with Leon and I, Susan and Steve. It's really been really a pleasure. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
We haven't cleared the finish line, but it's been a pleasure so far.
We will get it. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.
We've been working a long time. This is not our state, we get going, so looks like we're getting there. So thank you guys very much. Just tweet, appreciate everybody knowing our work.
Thank you. Thank you.
You too.
It's hard to believe we're almost ready for the first time in school. That was another one of the original transition that our schools will be undergoing at the very end of 9 weeks, which is just a short 3 weeks away. As you know, we planned on returning to school in the summer. We told our parents that they had the opportunity to change their child's mode of instruction in the 9 weeks. So in the summer, they selected all virtual instruction. They had the opportunity to switch to our hybrid model and vice versa. Our hybrid kiddos could switch to our virtual if they wanted to. So last week is when we sent out a survey to our parents to go ahead and start gathering that information so that our schools and our staff had time to help plan for that. Based on the numbers that we gathered today, we have about 600 students, approximately 600, that have chosen to go from all virtual to come back into our buildings. So I feel good about that number, 600 kiddos, parents want to come back into the buildings. And then 80 students chose to go from our hybrid model to all virtual. In talking with principals, good news is, we did have a concern when we started this process that we may have to reduce some schedules for students that maybe were working 4 days. We might have to drop down to 2 days, but preliminary numbers are showing that we are not going to have to do that. So that's one good piece of news that I'm reading. And in addition, this is also tentative based on this preliminary information, but we're hoping to be able to increase some of the numbers of days that some of our students in our elementary schools will be able to go. So some grade levels that are only going 2 days a week may have the opportunity to go 4 days a week. That's preliminary and that's tentative because of course it does depend on transportation. And then our schools have to be able to ensure that we're not compromise our mitigation strategies, specifically social distancing. But that's our hope, that we'll be able to get some of our younger elementary kiddos back into buildings. The only other piece that I wanted to share with you, this will have minimal staffing implications. We will have to have some of our teachers that are at COLA, we're going to return them into our buildings because more kiddos are going to be back building COLA. Do you have any questions about the survey or that information?
One question, if we have any additional students come back, we will have to take a day to prepare for the comeback, I think more time.
That's why we did it early, so that we have a good 3 weeks to work on that. That may be a consideration, we haven't decided that yet. It may be needed, and we'll ask our principals if they think that it will be, because one of the things that may happen.
More students in the class, trying to keep the social distance and everything.
Correct. It's going to require more setup. Some buildings may have set up a different classroom, so it could. It definitely will require more work on our folks. So to answer your earlier question, our teachers and our principals and administrators are doing very well, but it's been challenging. It's been a lot, but it shows their dedication. We've done a tremendous job. So kudos to all our schools.
I would recommend for potential for a teacher work day or recreation day, we have set up, help.
something you may have addressed and I just missed it, but busing, how will we be busing when we do this? Is that-
So we do have a few buses that are in capacity. Right now, we just got those numbers on Friday, so we're working a lot. We're with the local high school there, on some of theirs, so they're just not really. Some of the principals have been slow rolling, bringing kids back up to this point, so we're gonna tackle that this week, see what kind of numbers we have. Out of those 500 and some, I think there's about 300 being trained.
So the 600, are they pretty evenly distributed among all the schools? Coming back to
Well, I have those numbers. There are some of our larger schools, it actually varies. Actually, we were a little surprised that local high school didn't have as many as we thought. But again, some schools have been bringing them back over the last couple of weeks for different reasons. If kiddos were not able to be engaged online, they wanted to brought back into the building because it was widely waiting so many of the weeks. So it varies. There are more elementary kiddos coming back than secondary. But there really is a lot of reasons for numbers.
So nobody goes to school the next day?
No. Yes. I know that was a concern, and I completely understand, but we just felt we needed to tell parents that if we had double that number, that would have been a real possibility. So the numbers were able to keep our schedules.
This is you can verify. We feel pretty comfortable saying that, but I also know that if we start getting these transportation issues, something that could be out there. But we feel pretty confident that no one wants that. And it's well.
What about cities that are already in person? If it doesn't look like the schedules are going to have changed, or if they pretty much stay where they are, with adding integrating those to be there.
Correct, that's the plan, unless transportation has implications where they have to shift because of buses being, more full on certain days.
That's my problem for the parents concerned, if they're, if they took them on, just get it together.
Sure.
We're telling them we're going to change that schedule.
Yeah, we're trying to make it as seamless and as few changes as possible.
Is this just for the next couple of weeks, or is this all out in the year?
We said this would be the remainder of the year. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, unless the DOE really, relaxes for some, reason, the phase open. But otherwise, if we're still in this, like, we want to have a meeting.
This is what we have.
Let's talk about it.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Like Angie just said, people have worked really hard, and we do fight to stay at school. We do a really, I have to say, our people have done an amazing job keeping us in school. We're working hard. Currently, we have 12 active cases. We're working in Campbell County, that's a school in Uptown. They trickle in, they trickle out. We do our proper social distancing all the time, proper physical distancing, and then we do our contact tracing. And sometimes those contact traces are fewer people than other times. But we've been able to maintain school consistently, and we're very proud of them. Some of these people are in situations that they really, it's new territory. And working with little people and trying to make them follow these directions is challenging, but also very rewarding, because I can say that having our kids in school right now is fundamentally the best thing I've seen. Our kids are at school, they are safe at school, and we're continuing that model. Do you have any questions about our current process?
What did you learn?
I've learned that it's busy. It's challenging. It's, every situation is different. Every contact is different. And every contact has a different story. And what we want to make sure that people who have contacted a positive person are contacted and taken from the population, given another learning environment until we safely bringing them back to school. And our people, our principals specifically, have done a lot of work to jump on these cases as they arrive. And we're committed to notifying our school community when that occurs. And we make a press release whenever it occurs. We want to be as transparent as we can. We're just moving through this thing today. Very, that's what I've learned, is that it's just a concept. Keep the tug on the road, and it'll be fine.
You know, while we're looking for those positives to me, I just think it's remarkable, considering what we knew was going to happen. We knew we were going to have positive cases that come through. And I just think it's remarkable, especially with regard to the procedures and processes and protocols you guys put in place that they work through this impact.
We've been fortunate enough to work with our other school agencies and Central and the health department to come to some sort of standardization of our process. And it's taken all agencies a while to get to that place, but I believe now all of your local doctors, physicians, etc., your health department, everybody seems to be on a very same belief track, and there's common language, and it's really helping us to maintain what we're doing. So I really appreciate the hard work that you're doing.
How is staff keeping morale?
I think, like I said, I think it's been very challenging for everybody. I think the Fridays that they have are a blessing, because they get to get caught up on their work. And it's been a tremendous amount of work. So I think that we're staying positive. When I talk to principals, they feel like folks are positive but tired. You know, it's different work. The online, learning the online platforms has been different and challenging. So I think we're okay. But I think they're tired, but need to know that they're doing a tremendous job. And I commend our administrators for letting them know that on a regular basis. And so are our principals.
Because it doesn't work on weekdays.
Yes.
It's actually 24/7. It's just a constant strain. So, it's just what it is. You get used to that environment.
I'd like to share, I had a conversation with Mr. Bennett and Mrs. Hanson, and both of them said, I asked that specific question, are the teachers holding up housing morale? And Mrs. Hanson said something that was very interesting. They both said they're stressed. They're working hard, they're stressed, they're tired. But Mrs. Hanson said a lot of it is self-imposed stress because they want to do such a good job.
That's the nature of a teacher. They always do.
Some of it they're putting it on themselves because it is hard doing the technology if they're not used to it and stuff, but they want to do such a good job that that's why they're stressing themselves. And we have to somehow and we don't see the teachers on the board. We don't really see the teachers. And I just said to my principals, share how proud we are from the board. And somehow we have to communicate that to these teachers, that not just from you guys, but from us, that we don't have the hands-on appreciation, but we do appreciate it. Somehow that needs to trickle out there, that we appreciate how hard it must be, and that we're so thankful that they're stepping up to the plate the way they are and trying to do the best they can under these circumstances. But again, the stress that they need to take a breath once in a while and say, this is the best I got. You're doing a great job. But you got to. This has to last all year. We got to keep these teachers all year. And so thank you. Thank you from us. I've already talked about it.
I
I've sort of already said the things I was going to say for this. I've already said it. Appreciate our board of supervisors working so well and being so positive, proactive for our community, and what I just shared about teachers in our schools. Brooke Neal and we in Campbell have been trickling these kids in already, so they're not going to have a sudden load. But Mr. Bennett shared with me that he's going to have 327 out of 365 of his kids back into school. They want to come back, and he is worried about the ones who aren't coming back. But some of those are the ones that need to be back the most. And, you know, we talked about this at the beginning. I shared it with Dr. Johnson. We're going to have some kids drop through the cracks, and we're doing all we can to avoid that. But we're going to have to be prepared that some of these kids will be repeating grades and stuff. So we are going to lose some of the kids, and that's so unfortunate. Only do what you can, so I feel for them. But anyway, I'm still positive. My principles are positive, and I just appreciate the optimism and hard work. And you know, keep hearing it's unprecedented. It is unprecedented, and it's not unique to Campbell County, but we're doing a good job in Campbell County. So, to be on this board and associated with this school community.
I'll echo what Dr. Miller said. He said a whole lot. As I travel across the state, I'm still amazed at the localities that are still not back in school. I'm so proud, I guess, or happy that we went back and it's been successful. And I think it's pretty clear that going back to school is a challenge. And that's when people really get a chance to excel, is when they have a challenge to do something. And I think everybody on our payroll has just met that challenge. I mean, we had some setbacks, but as a general rule, it's all positive. The parents I talk to are so thankful that the kids will go back to school. And I'm just happy our schools are open. I hope we can keep them open. And I'll echo what Dr. Moe said. Just thank you from the bottom of my heart to all of them that worked their behinds off to make this thing a success. On another note, certainly appreciate Mr. Klein and Mr. Hardy being here, the board of supervisors, and Frank and Cliff here. Just appreciate their interest and willingness to work with our board. Really appreciate it. I guess I've learned new phrases tonight from Amy and Denton, little people and kiddos. I think in my period here, I've not heard those terms used to describe our students, but I guess it is. It's little people and kiddos. That's all I have.
Okay, just echoing what Dr. Moore and Mr. Jones said about how much we appreciate the teachers, and I've seen some of their comments. I've talked to some of them. I know they're stressed. I think some of it's self-imposed. I think some of it is they want to do their job as well as possible, and with the current environment, based on what we have, they're not sure where that line is, where that best as possible line falls, and that's where a lot of the issues come in. It's not that it's purposefully self-imposed, it's just it's a moving target. So, but I do appreciate everything they've done. I have heard from quite a few parents with issues about seesaw, which I shared with Dr. Johnson on Friday. So I do have parents in my district that are not overly happy because seesaw has been a challenge and a half, but my understanding is which are being worked out, yes, and as much as possible. So, as far as things happening, Workville Middle and Workville High are both having basically spirit months, and each 2-day segment, depending on the students, are scheduled for different things for now and come up. Also on September 28th, I got to do a Google Classroom session with the 8th grade government class, Ms. Lamb and Mr. Womack, because they were discussing political offices and who was running candidates, things of that nature, and a lot of students didn't realize that we had local government. And so she asked me to join the talk to them about what the school board did. So that was a very interesting experience, but definitely something I enjoyed. And I believe that's it.
So thanks to the citizens who came out and actually speak with you, really appreciate it. Size and appreciate you. Particularly the state's ways. Thanks to the everyone else, the teachers, the administration, Michelle, Harvard, keeping the schools running smoothly, IT support that we give students, parents, and so forth. Thank you, Mr. Rogers, for coming out, and just want to reiterate the consideration of the teaching work day for our students. Serious consideration. Good plan for all this. I would like to name on the teaching work day. Thank you everybody for their help.
This is new territory there.
And I like to know
Yeah, I don't think that's what said as far as boardrooms, one day, with the new students, coming back. Also, we can't thank the staff, teachers, all of them for everything they do. I think each day we have to thank each and every one of them, and the ones that listen. Also, John, I appreciate his comments tonight. Also, Matt Clark, one of them, board supervisors, Frank Rogers, with the supervisor, spoke about at the last meeting, and also Cliff Tweedy, take this time tonight to come. And thank you to all of those. We'll have a good one.
Thank you, Mr. Brown. Just echo everyone's comments up here. Thanks to everyone for your hard work during this pretty difficult time, and it started with leadership, Campbell County Schools, that have worked its way all the way down. And everybody has got a significant role to play, and we really appreciate everything that everyone's doing to make this go as seamless as possible. I know it's not seamless, but given the circumstances, I think we're doing a fabulous job. I'd also like to thank the guest speakers coming tonight and sharing their concerns with the school and the whole school. We appreciate the comments. I'd like to thank Mr. Hardy for initiating discussion on the Westbrook Middle School and the expansion of our schools. I think it's really like it. But again, just thanks for everyone for all you're doing. I'm not for singling anyone out, but there's a lot of people that are doing it. So thank you very, very much. And with that said, that's all I have.
That's a lot more work than we feel like we need that day, but we need to make that change. We won't have to make it. Just change the calendar, and that's just say how, if you need a motion, to authorize us, yeah, but certainly we can do that.
if it needed, the motion would be made on that, we need to work on that.
Motion by Mr. Grant, second by Mr. Mayor. Any other discussion?
I was gonna say, we could have an outbreak, they get closed for 2 weeks, I wouldn't turn around again. So I think we need to monitor leading up to that.
We're saying it's at their discretion.
Administration, yeah. A lot of things can change for you.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Okay, at this time, I believe we have a need for a closed meeting tonight.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we convene a closed meeting for discussion on serious and disciplinary matters, or other matters that would involve the disclosure of information contained in the draft record concerning the student, the school division, the student 8, 2020-21 school year, according to section 2.2-3711A2 of the Code of Virginia, 1960.
Got a motion by Mr. Grant, second by Mr. Jones. Any further discussion? All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Let's take a quick 5 minutes break.
I got it unplugged. That gum screen froze on me. Sound still kept going through. Crap, what is that?
I hit the slide to go to the last slide.
Yeah.
They only had a couple. I hit it and it came on, then it went away, and then I looked on my screen and it went away, and I clicked it back. I said, well,
It's
he's having an interview right now.
yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I just wanted, one thing, that's what I was talking about at the beginning of the meeting, and, say this, I'm not real sure how we forgot, but all of us, we did do my evaluation. So, next month, I will be sending out the document, you know, revised, and then, yeah, the document we agreed on last fall. I'll send that out, and with some directions that you can do it next week. That's it.
We'll be sending out, we'll do the evaluation at the next.
Look at the November meeting.
We should have done it.
That's been practice in the past. He's scheduled something else yet. Unless you want to push it off to the summer.
No, that's fine, I'm just trying to
Does that mean that this is- we can do
Just
both.
trying to determine schedule.
You know, what I was saying, trying to trickle down to teachers from the school board about how much we appreciate it. What can we do?
I was gonna say, I was gonna talk with that staff next Monday. I was just sitting here thinking maybe, you know, we could do a video or something, you know, recognizing comments in your particular area that we can push out to them. But I'll work with that same staff next week and we'll talk about that. What might you do to, so you could express, you know, to your area.
This whole discussion, we got a motion by Mr. Grant. Second by Mr. Maddox. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?